Throughout the ages, there have been heroes and warriors who have embarked on quests to save faraway lands and free the people from would-be conquerors. Today, legends are told from the tales of our terrible warriors. Chronicles of an unlikely group of nerdy adventurers armed only with their dice, some pretty stupid ideas, and a horseshoe up their butt as they come together to save the day in the Cambridge Chronicles. Seriously? You couldn't find anyone better?
Welcome back to the Cambridge Chronicles. I am your judge for this special pre-briefing for our Cambridge Chronicles Summer of One-Shots. That's right. I am joined with
Mr. Tristan
and Alex.
And this is not a tale of two druids. In fact, this is a tale of a small team of superheroes. That's right. We are taking a look at the 1980s Marvel superheroic role-playing game, or Marvel role-playing game, whichever you prefer, from TSR, the same guys who made Dungeons and Dragons in the 1980s. And this game is most often known by its acronym, FASERIP. So, fighting, agility, reason, endurance.
Fair.
Okay, that's phase, right?
Strength and endurance.
Strength, intellect, intelligence, perception? No, psyche.
Fighting, agility, strength, and endurance is your phase, and RIP is reason, intelligence, and psyche.
Yes, so phase RIP.
Or is it insight?
Which literally you can make a character in
Intuition.
Intuition. You can literally make a character in about 5 minutes, as long as you have the so-called universal table, which is what this game is most known for. You would check against, okay, I rolled good, you rolled fair, or whatever, and my result is a green, yellow, or red result, red being the best, green being the lowest tier possible, yellow being middle of the road. And from what I can tell in this game, it's incredibly easy to die. However, because you're playing superheroes of the Marvel universe, thou shall not kill, which is basically karma, which comes into a very heavy play in this game, though we'll be playing with slightly modified house rules, because this is the first episode of the Summer of One-Shots. This game has the possibility to continue into more games should our characters want to continue on along their adventurous path of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So allow me to give you the pre-briefing for this before we get into talking about the Marvel characters that we have currently on the table. This game takes place, by the way, heavy spoilers. If you've not seen Avengers Infinity War, you probably shouldn't listen to this particular podcast. So
I think everybody who is going to see it has seen it by now.
Yeah, pretty much. At least I'd hope so, considering the movie's made like $2 billion.
And like it already had its play in like the $2 theaters. So
oh, really? Already?
It's been
2 months almost.
Like it's out of theaters, out of main theaters now.
Yeah, it'll be 2 months as of the 27th.
Yeah,
because Deadpool and Solo are in theaters still pretty wide, and you got Jurassic World.
Yeah, so, alright, so with that in mind, this game takes place minutes after the last post-credit scene in Marvel Infinity, or Avengers Infinity, where Thanos has snapped his fingers. Sam Jackson has literally just said, motherfucker, and has disintegrated everybody into dust. Half the universe is dead. What does that mean? Well, prior to everybody turning to dust, Sam Jackson, aka Nick Fury, and Maria Hill were just coming back from a mysterious meeting where they literally meet our heroes as the Avengers are off in Wakanda fighting against Thanos, Obsidian Midnight, and all the other... Obsidian Maw, I think, was the other bad guy's name. Basically, all the sons and daughters of Thanos, and nobody's left to protect New York. Spider-Man's gone. Doctor Strange is gone. All they have is, like, Wong, the Netflix characters. Where are they? Well, we don't really know just yet. So Nick Fury has tapped on these guys to say, hey, the Avengers might not come home. I need someone to defend this city. And literally, to borrow a line from one of the worst video games of all time, are you a bad enough dude to protect New York? So, without any further ado, I want to introduce our characters for this adventure. Now, tentatively, we're going to have 3 players, but with some scheduling, we're not counting on the third just yet. So here are the first 2. 2 for sure people. We are joined with
Alex.
And who are you playing?
Well, I want to get into this. We had never rolled up a character for this series or this game before, so I came here with you and we sort of worked it out together and rolled with pretty much everything that came. Like, we didn't really do any re-rolls. I don't think I did a single re-roll.
Nope.
You did allow me to swap one of my stats with another stat.
Yeah.
So I had to keep the numbers as is, and I was able to swap them. That made a little more sense as to having a character with a gimmicks, if you will. So I rolled a altered human. What that means is my powers did not come natural. Now, you want us to go sort of into the phase and
Yeah,
what
sure.
I have?
Go ahead.
So for F, I rolled a 67, which turns into being remarkable on the grid.
Yep.
I rolled for A. I rolled a 42, which is excellent. For S, I rolled a 16, which is typical. And for the E, I rolled 71, which is remarkable. And then from there, basically, you get the categories you're in. It's in about 5 or 6 point intervals before you go up into different categories.
I think the point value range increases with each tier.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And from there, you end up taking the category value for remarkable, excellent, typical, and remarkable. Again, you add them up, and that's how you get your HP.
Yeah.
So I have a starting HP of 73 points.
Which is really good.
And for my ripped category, the R was 12, which is typical. The I was 29, which is good. And the P is 20, which is typical. I still may flip something around because I get the one thing to flip.
Yep.
We'll see how we go from there. And you add those categories up, and that's how you get your karma. And my karma was 18.
Yeah, and karma is used to power different abilities. Like, we're going to talk about powers, for example. What does your guy do? What makes him special?
Working my way down, like my resources are typical.
Yeah.
So
ordinary dude.
My powers, what did I roll? I rolled a 51, so I ended up with 3 powers, 2 talents, 1 contact, and I ended up, I believe, buying an extra power contact in this as well. So my powers, I went with a body control power. There's a whole list. This game has a lot of different powers you can have that are pre-generated and have stats. It's absolutely crazy. So I went with body control, and I went with shape-shifting / imitation as one of them. So what does that let me do? I can imitate an object around me. I guess would it be
Odo from Deep Space
Yes,
Nine.
Odo or the liquid metal guy.
Yeah, from Terminator.
I can do basically inanimate objects, but not living creatures.
Yeah.
Not something that would have a character or like I'm not like a full shapeshifter, if that makes sense. And I also have another body control, which is I went with a defensive power called life support. And what that does is it makes it very difficult for me to be injured or hurt based on environmental factors.
Yeah, for example, the one they give inside the book is he could walk into an active volcano. The heat's not going to kill him, or the poisonous gas.
For instance,
but the fire would kill
I read
you.
an example, and because of how high I rolled, now each of these powers, you roll for your initial stats on them and how powerful they are. For the shape-shifting imitation one, I rolled an excellent, which is 50, which means on that table scale, it's a certain amount of rolls, heavy. I could actually last longer without being noticed or do more difficult shapeshift. So instead of just shapeshifting into basically looking like I'm part of the wall, maybe I can turn into a lamp or
like a vending machine.
Have the appearance of that. The life support one, I rolled fairly high on that. So how it ended up being is I can have up to 8 turns before I take any environmental damage. So if somebody spaces me and I'm shot out into outer space, I have 8 rolls to get myself back into safety before I take a single point of damage.
Which is really cool. So it's hard for him to drown. It's harder
Yes.
for him.
If I walk, I could fall into a volcano, and my clothes would burn up, and I'd be naked. But as I'm walking out, I would have up to 8 turns to walk out, depending on how far I'm in. Or I won't freeze as easily.
Radiation is a
radiation is virtually like, because I'd have to be standing in a nuclear reactor for 8 turns, which could be an entire game, the entire
combat session
before I take a single point of damage. Now, does that mean that somebody can't blow
your head
my head off? No, projectiles are still going to hurt me. It's just environmental factors that I'm not invulnerable, but almost impervious to. What this doesn't mean is I don't have fast regeneration and health. So when I do get hurt, I'll heal like everybody else. It just takes a long time. Think of it like I'm not calloused on the body, but it's like if I was calloused and you stuck a needle in my finger and it didn't do anything, but you stuck it far enough in and I got hurt, well, it's going to hurt for a few days. So I don't have Wolverine's power. I just have, like, basically, I'm like a human shield.
Yeah. You're really thick-skinned in a metaphorical sense.
But again, I could be shot and hurt like anybody else. But if somebody uses a flamethrower on me, it won't do damage. So kinetic projectiles will hurt me. Like a bomb going off would hurt me from the concussive blast, but the heat of the bomb wouldn't hurt me. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So a frag grenade could go off and I could get shards put into me.
Yeah.
But the actual fire and heat wouldn't hurt me at all.
Yeah, it's one of the weirder powers that Alex rolled.
It was pretty cool. And the other part that I rolled to get the extra power was Dark Force manipulation.
And a character that you may have seen this now on television, there's a television show called Cloak and Dagger. He has daggers, or he has Cloak's power.
Yeah, so I have the ability to basically teleport myself through a dark dimension. Think, I guess it would be the Doctor Strange movie, where he goes into the dark dimension.
Dormammu.
Basically that. I go through that. But it also means that I can't bring somebody else through there with me because I have high environmental tolerance with my other power. So I can teleport myself, or if somebody else goes through, they could,
they could potentially get hurt.
There could be poisonous gas. There could be havoc wrought on them while they go through. And as I go through, I could go in one way, depending on how high I roll, or if I don't roll well and my base stats aren't high enough, I could go in there and, oh god, a Cthulhu monster could just grab onto me.
Yeah.
So I have to use that power sparingly until I can master it.
Now, there is a thing called karma, which we've mentioned, which you get awarded by doing superheroic deeds or by doing good things, basically. Now, if Alex wants to try something called a power stunt, something he's never done before, if he spends 100 karma, I may knock this down since we're beginning characters, he can do something like he's never done before, like take someone through the dark dimension, they don't get hurt.
Or it could be
fly.
Yeah, exactly. With the powers, I could have the power to project dark energy at people.
Yeah, so he can suck people
or
in.
Create a cloud of darkness around. Or if instead of opening up a portal that I can go through, I could open up a portal underneath an enemy.
Yeah, like, see you later, loser.
But who knows? It could backfire on me and something else could come through.
Yeah. Like, there's so many different possibilities, and I think that's one of the exciting things for this power. We don't know how it's going to use. Now,
and a little more into my character.
Yes.
My talents, I ended up rolling. And remember, everything here was rolled. You roll for the category, and then we got to pick the power or something from within that category.
Yeah.
So I ended up rolling fighting skills, and I got acrobatics. So does that mean that I'm like this crazy
world-class gymnast?
Ninja? No. It does mean, though, that I have the ability to do some parkour if I need to, or I'm more likely to land on my feet if I'm falling, that sort of deal.
Tumbling sort of thing.
So yeah, it's a little bit. It's sort of acrobatics wrestling is sort of what the category was.
Yeah.
So think pro wrestler.
Yeah, but say when Alex pitched me this character when we had all his stats rolled out, he wanted me to think, like a pro wrestler, because your fighting skills, you chose wrestling.
Yes, fighting skills, acrobatics, wrestling, and then for weapons, I have thrown weapons.
So you can throw like
a rock.
ninja stars or stuff like that.
But I'm not a ninja, so it would mean like I can throw a spear, and I try to tie it into eventually I could get dark powers that allow me to like throw a dark power spear.
Yeah.
Work them all together.
basically like shards of darkness.
Kind of like how Dagger, which would be Cloak's counterpart, throws energy projectiles. Yeah, that dark energy manipulation. Yeah, I could see him throwing dark energy blasts.
And then I received one contact. Now, my contact you set up, it was somebody at Hammer Industries.
Yes, Hammer Industries in the Marvel Universe, Justin Hammer was the rival to Tony Stark. Now, currently, if you're watching the Netflix series, Hammer Industries is playing a very heavy part because there's now weapons on the street known as Judas weapons. Weapons capable of hurting bulletproof people, such as Luke Cage. They're heavily regulated. They're not supposed to be on the streets. But that's how this character ties in. You work for big industry.
The interesting here, I came up with a backstory. It's the first time I've come into a character that has a fairly fleshed out backstory. Now, I'm just calling my character Al because it's easier. I don't necessarily have a last name. I might have it ready for when we play, but it's not going to be necessary. So I'm playing Al, so it's simple and everybody can just go, hey, Al. But what my character is he is an insurance investigator. And before he got his powers, and I'll get into how I got my powers, before he got his powers, he worked for just your standard banks and insurance companies investigating, did somebody set a fire to their house? What was the cause of the claim? And who to blame? And how he got his powers was after in the first Avengers, when the aliens came in.
Yeah, the Chitauri.
All the disaster that was left over, I was sent in to sort of evaluate the damage on a building that had an alien spaceship that had crashed on it. And I'm leaning over to look at things, and a canister opened up, and a gas basically engulfed my body. And then that's how I ended up with my powers. So that's where my altered human part comes into play. And now I wanted to be a superhero so bad because I was like, I want to have all these cool powers, but I didn't really have powers that were super beneficial to anything except the job I currently had. So I end up working freelance, but generally picked up by these big corporations. Whenever there's a superhero battle that damages their buildings or in the city, I am called in to investigate the fallout that's happened afterwards. So basically determine, hey, was it a bad guy that did this to your building? Because then you'll get your insurance payout. Or did the Avengers cause it?
Yeah.
And if the Avengers caused it, guess who's getting the bill? It's going to go to the government or somebody else. So, and because I have the ability to go through hazardous areas, I'm basically perfectly equipped to walk into like a nuclear fallout area. I won't get hurt by like walking through a building that's on fire to determine, the cause of it. So my code name or superhero name is Payout.
And one of the cool things that's happened with Payout since the events of the Avengers, business has been good. With the superhero codes of Sokovia, superheroes have to be registered, which means if they cause damage, guess who has to show up? You, which I think is a great thing. Also, with the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., well, who are all these superheroes running around? Business has been good. Business has been booming.
Yeah.
Though, with your resources, because you're a freelancer, you got to pay for your own travel.
Exactly. I don't work for the government, but I'm hired by the government and big businesses because I'm a neutral party. I'm not a superhero. I'm not a supervillain. I am a super insurance investigator.
You took the most boring job in the universe and made it interesting.
And as my character, I am pissed that I'm still doing this, but I know it's a job that needs to get done, and I want to do more than that. I want to not be just a suit.
And the reason
super suit.
Yes.
And the reason you were picked by Nick Fury, because you are that neutral party, you don't have any interest in, I want Stark's money, I want this, I want that.
And I'm not a hothead. I am basically the epitome of the government man that walks up to your door, knocks on there, and says, I'm here to do an investigation. And I'm an intimidating... I basically tried to model him of, what if me, the person, Alex, actually had these powers? What would I be like? Would I be over the top? No. I'd kind of be bitter that I'm doing the same job I've always been doing. The money is okay. I'm not, Jessica Jones poor, but I'm not Tony Stark rich. I'm living almost like a 1950s middle class job. I just get paid a little more, but I have to live in New York where it's expensive, in Manhattan because it's where a lot of these things happen. So, my rent for a 1-bedroom apartment's like $5,000 a month. So it does add up.
Exactly. So that is payout, energy manipulator, insurance salesman who can literally survive hell.
Insurance
investigator slash adjuster. Yeah.
I like that. You are literally the superhero adjustment bureau.
I am the guy that they hate having to come by, some people, because they'll claim that, oh, a superhero damaged my place, and I'll be like, nah, you set the fire yourself. So I'm that guy.
You know who would be an interesting person for you to run into? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you and Jessica Jones could easily cross paths.
It would be that, assuming that she's not dead.
Yeah, and we don't know in this universe.
And it's the kind of thing where the firm that she worked for, that was Carrie Ann Moss ran.
Yeah.
I would probably be associated with. I would know of these people because I'm a neutral party that they would bring in to appease their shareholders. Like when there is something that goes wrong, I go in and investigate. So I would probably know anybody that's on like the chief of police. I would know the fire marshals. I would know a lot of the people in New York City. Although I am not originally from New York City. My argument is I'm actually from Canada. I was sent down as part of a big investigation when they had all the disaster going on from a big original insurance company, big corporation. They had to have all hands on deck because the city was basically decimated. So I'm a replant. I'm an immigrant, and I'm sort of stuck there.
Now, moving things from the super boring to the supernatural, though not really when you really break it down, when you look at the logistics of the Marvel Universe, we get the Tristan's character. And your character is, well, not of this earth.
No, I managed to roll up an entirely randomized character. I let the dice decide absolutely everything, no switches of any rolls whatsoever, even down to the specifics of the powers and talents, not so much just picking a category, but picking the exact things that I was getting. And I managed to roll very high on the list for race and origin, and ended up getting alien, which allowed me to choose any alien race in the Marvel Universe. I went with Asgardian, because it's what I'm most familiar with in Marvel. I don't have a lot of the little details of how to properly play another race that's out there.
Like Kree
the
or
Kree or a Chitauri for some reason. So I went with Asgardian because it's exciting for me. As for my actual statistics, I have poor fighting, excellent agility, amazing strength, poor endurance, remarkable reason, good intuition, and excellent psyche. So I'm very strong, I'm fairly agile, but I don't fight well, and I'm not very durable. Mm-hmm. My mental faculties are fairly strong as well. So it's kind of a character that can hold his own, but doesn't do well in close combat. He doesn't like to get in too close. He doesn't like to tussle with people because he's probably going to get his butt kicked. For powers, I have pretty much distance attacks in general. Slashing missile, I have an excellent slashing missile, so I'm able to launch a projectile and it does slashing damage. It
so
can cut things open.
Like a porcupine quill, sort of thing.
In a lot of ways, yeah. It slashes the target, it's very sharp. I also have an ensnaring missile, so I can hold targets at range from wherever I am, so I can stay far away from them, so I don't have to get into that physical combat. And that I rolled an amazing on, so that's kind of the crux of a lot of how I fight. I keep people away from me and then slash them from afar. I also have extra body parts. I can fly. I have wings.
I thought you were going to say, I have an extra hand. I just have on my back.
Yeah, I just like to just have it there. I give myself
the ultimate back scratcher.
I can pat myself on the back anytime I want.
I have a butt scratching hand and I have a back scratching hand.
I've just got hands everywhere for scratching. I never really have to move. No, my wings allow me to fly in some limited circumstances. I rolled an excellent on it, so it works fairly well. The details need to be figured out as to exactly how well that's going to work in combat and how it plays. But it, again, plays into the whole concept of my character staying away from the heat of battle and reining in from far away and dealing the damage from a distance. As for talents, I have professional skills as a pilot, which fits well in the Asgardian world. There's already a lot of spaceships there. Most of them do manage to fly things. There's pilots there. Since I have wings, it's a bit of a strange combination, but I like to be in the sky. That's about all there is to that. And I have oriental weapons as well for my fighting style, so think katanas and shurikens. This is where throwing stars come in.
Basically would be the Asgardian equivalent.
And also, that's one thing you can see that dates the game to 30 years ago, is they used the term Oriental weapons.
Yes, this is an in-game term. It is categorized as Oriental weapons. That's all.
What would be the modern term for that? Asian weaponry?
East Asian weaponry.
Okay. So yeah, you are specialized in all this thing. And basically, in as far as I'm concerned, you're familiar with the Asgardian equivalent.
Exactly.
So you can name whatever, you can be whatever you want, as far as I'm
Exactly.
concerned.
So any sort of weaponry in those stylings, but it would be more with the Asgardian appearance.
An Asgardian
and
katana
themes.
just sounds friggin' badass.
You know, I'd have two of them and just swing out from the sides like everyone in Thor Ragnarok does.
Oh yeah.
My name is Fenrir, which is derived from the Norse mythology Fenrir, son of Loki. Fenrir is a giant wolf that devours, I believe, the moon in the course of the actual Ragnarok. My character has named himself Fenrir because he fashions himself the son of Loki. He thinks he's the son of Loki from the Marvel Universe.
Which he may or may not be.
However, he is not the actual son of Loki. In fact, Loki doesn't even really know who he is.
Oh,
he's
is
just
he
a
a
giant
stalker?
fanboy
Oh, God.
who's just this complete delusion that he is the son of Loki when really he's just obsessed with the guy. So he came to Earth after the events of the Battle of New York with the Chitauri invasion because he's learned that Earth is this kind of interesting place. Loki managed to kind of wreak some havoc down there. Maybe I'll go check it out, see what's going on. He got in touch with S.H.I.E.L.D., he got in touch with Agent Coulson, and now he's kind of teaching S.H.I.E.L.D. some of the Asgardian ways a little bit. They managed to get it out of him because he's really not that tough of a guy. He's not that intimidating.
What's your intelligence at?
My intuition is good.
Okay, so it's not like
Psyche's
so
excellent.
you're not going to be manipulated.
No, I'm not super genius. I idolize Loki's ability to manipulate people, but I'm not as good at it as he is.
Yeah, I was going to say, between the two of us, I have some more fighting ability than you, but we're not really heavy fighters.
No, I stay away from fighting.
Yeah.
I have poor fighting and poor endurance.
Like,
I don't want anyone to punch me in the
gonna say,
face. It's
which is
gonna hurt.
Funny. This will make for interesting role playing because I basically come after the fights usually.
Yeah, and I want nothing to do with up close. I just want to stay back and shoot stuff at people.
So basically, I can wrestle a guy to the ground, and you'll be able to like shoot the guy on the ground and not worry if I get hit as much because as long as it's not like
Well, I could still slash the heck out of you
you
because it's slashing damage.
you
but
could
the point
poison
is,
dart me, and I'd be like, what? What's that?
if you get into trouble, I can kind of ensnare them in place. They won't be able to move, and then we continue
No,
and regroup.
I'm entirely picturing me going, all right, I got him. Set us on fire.
So my resources are poor. I don't really have a lot that I brought with me. I took a ship, but I went straight to Earth.
Do you know
and I got in
where?
contact
Do you know
there.
where you live? Like I'm living in Manhattan.
I stay in with the facilities that formerly were part of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So you could be in like anywhere.
Yeah,
really.
I'm just kind
It
of a
could
floater.
be any building
I
underground.
like to explore as well. I'm fascinated with Earth now, trying to learn all the
So you
different
sort of
parts
jump
of
between the
Earth.
boroughs.
So I'm just all over the place.
I was going to say, I hope he was going to say I live in Jersey.
So
Joyzy
how-
and Fenrir.
So how your character connects to the Marvel Universe, as far as I'm concerned, you've mentioned Agent Coulson. So before Coulson's death in Avengers, the first one, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has happened. And as far as I'm concerned, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is happening concurrently with the events of Avengers Infinity War. However, Agent Coulson, from his days at S.H.I.E.L.D., has kept in contact with you, as you are one of the few remaining elements that was considered to be a non-threat. You are a Asgardian living on Earth. The agreement is you don't cause trouble. We want to talk to you from time to time. You hear anything, you're like almost like an Asgardian informant.
Yeah, I'm kind of there to teach them what Asgard has in a lot of ways because they want to be better prepared to defend themselves against any potential future Asgardian threats like the Destroyer.
Because people like Thor are not always on planet. Because you don't necessarily manipulate the Bifrost, because you don't have Mjolnir or Loki's ability to just summon it.
Yeah, Heimdall isn't exactly like he knows I exist, but I'm just really some insignificant whelp in
Yep.
the Asgardian world, so he
basically,
doesn't really give me
You're
much.
part of the C class or D class crew.
Yeah, I'm there. I have some power, but overall, when it comes to Asgard, I'm not really anything
But compared
special.
to a human,
Exactly. By standards on Earth, I'm still pretty great, but in Asgard terms, I'm nothing.
So, with all this, we have set up the playground we have for what I'm calling this adventure is called Avengers Aftermath, which, like I said, takes place in the moments after the infamous snap. How this will happen is you guys will be meeting with Nick Fury and Maria Hill. That's where they're coming back from before they call Captain Marvel. And what's going to happen in that meeting? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned to the Cambridge Chronicles to find out as we set up the adventure that is Avengers Aftermath. As always, we do welcome you guys to get involved with us. You can contact us on Twitter at Dice Chronicles, or you can contact us individually. I am on Twitter at Birdman. Alex is
at Turd or Treasure.
And
at Mr. Christopher.
So hopefully you will join us as we adventure into the Marvel Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm excited for this. It's a new system. It's one I've always wanted to play. And I think we're going to have some fantastic adventures as we play superheroes on this show. So until next time, I've been Mike the Birdman Dodd, joined with my fantastic duo of heroes. We should be having Lee Emperor Wayne Johnson play with us. However, it comes down to scheduling. So
and if he doesn't, then his character just went poof.
Yeah, character got turned in the dust.
Exactly.
Which kind of gives me a very interesting idea for how things should start. Oh, I like that. Anyway, I've just given away a plot point. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we have been your terrible warriors of the Cambridge Chronicles. We'll catch you again real soon as we journey into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Excelsior!